Crypto is about to go absolutely bonkers and parabolic, pioneers. Are you ready? Because we've got a whole lot to talk about. As you look at what the right hand is always doing, the uncommon 1%, they're about to open the floodgates and exit stage left. So again, are you ready, pioneers? Because this money, time, financial freedom, and happiness illusion can really wreck you if you're not careful. You see, you can have all the money in the world and yet still be dirt poor. You can have the most valuable watch and yet still no time. I ain't got no time for that, is what everybody always says. Have you done your homework, pioneers? Or you could have everything you've ever wanted and yet still not be happy. So don't get caught in this money, financial time, freedom, happiness illusion, because it's a trap. Don't try and stack a bag, pioneers. Become the bag. You see, until you become to realize that your inner peace is the highest form of wealth, then you're going to continue to get tricked by this matrix. When you accept that your real wealth is inside you, everything changes. What is rich? Is what I asked someone one time when they asked me why wasn't I rich yet for the work that I was doing. And they couldn't answer the question. But when you're able to answer rich is realizing I create happiness, can I get a hello? So how you choose to live your life right now, today, is where your real wealth lies. Because you're already rich, you're already powerful, and you're already wealthy, pioneers. You're the creation of our co-creator, of our creator making you a co-creator. And you deserve everything that you manifest. You deserve an award. Ask yourself, why do they only hand out awards to actors? You know, people playing a role on your television that tells you a vision, not your vision. And ask yourself, why don't they ever hand it out to somebody that's simply existing here in the matrix? Because if you're simply existing, then you're not living, pioneers. So many people are unaware that they are the wealthiest person alive. Because if I was to ask you for your energy, your currency, pioneers, I bet you wouldn't even give it to me. Not a single drop. Do you feel that money, financial freedom, time, and happiness illusion starting to disappear now? Well, that's because of balance. When it comes to money, don't chase the bag, be the bag. When it comes to time, realize there's no such thing. Time is infinite, meaning there's literally so much of it that it cannot be measured. You've just ignored this, reliving yesterday and chasing tomorrow when you should have been living in the present, being present, and living in the now, the today, because tomorrow never exists. As for the happiness part, it's already inside of you. Become a divergent and a glitch in the matrix, pioneers. Stop looking outside of yourself, because all the answers are within. Wealth comes from your heart. Wealth comes from your mind. And what you believe in your heart and speak in your minds will eventually become your words and your reality one day. And what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset. And what gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset becomes an unconscious action and an unconscious activity. And I just want mine to be guideful, helpful, and nurturing to others. Because if you give a man or woman a fish, then they'll be able to eat for a day. But if you leave them that fishing rod, then they can eat for a lifetime because you taught them how to fish. But before you leave, if you teach them how to farm, well, then they can feed nations. And that's what we're doing here on the Daily Candle Close News. So certainly hope you're all doing well on this Monday Moon Day, the day of the moon, March 28th, 2022. Sending you all much loves and high vibrations, because it's interesting to see this repeat of a little dip in the markets for 3 years now, all coming in the month of March, or Mars, also known as Aries, the god of war. So what's even more interesting is when we look at the cycles on a monthly candle view, and we go back over the past few years, and this is on the area chart, taking out the volatility and the monotony at the markets. But when we look at this on a monthly candle view, and we see where we're at right now, holding structure of around $47,000 as we get ready to enter April 5th, Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin's 47th birthday. I find it very symbolic. But as we look at this, it's almost as if March is a shakeout period that's almost always ending in a clear recovery period, making this usually a good time for long-term investors and pioneers. Because we don't trip, we buy the dip. So let's take this off the area and look at the candles and show you what I'm talking about. When we look at the month of March, we see that it's usually giving us a low and a bounce in the structure. This is this year, obviously, and we'll go back here to March of 2021, and March was bringing our tops in the market. So again, a pretty decent month for cryptocurrency. And let's go back one more year to the March lows that led to this March breakout a year later. As above, so below. So very important. I do know that for new investors or those that are unsophisticated in technical analysis and TA, the start of the year this year has really been, well, it's been unpleasant for some, as we've been in this multi-month downtrend that's led to this very boring consolidation period before we had this trend reversal and breakout. So it has not been enjoyable for a lot of people, but for those of us that are more inclined to what's really going on, well, the last 90 days or so have just been amazing and seemingly appear to be a great accumulation opportunity for those that did not trip and bought the dip. Like when I gave you my Don't Trip, Buy the Dip special in my Wop Bamboozled This, That, and the Third video in January at our market lows, and I was able to tell you that our bounce was coming using the RSI and other indicators, using technical analysis, and going against the masses, because you don't want to do what the masses do, what the 99% do. You want to do what's best for you, what the uncommon 1% does. So very important. However, this is still a time where we don't need to get overly invested in these markets. Let's remember to not get overly invested in anything in life. That's unhealthy. We need to find balance, emotionally as well. Remember, emotions don't belong here in investing anyways. We know that there were a lot of players in the game that have went away since December, January, February, and most of them are not coming back anytime soon. Not just yet. They like to buy tops of the markets. Crypto has this way of doing that to people. Most of them will wait and wait and wait to get back in, and almost none of them will do any type of research or planning, because they always live in the outcome versus the process. You see, they don't develop a craft and a skill and a mindset. They live in the fantasy of getting rich overnight or becoming financially stable so I can quit my job, etc. I fell in love with my process, pioneers. Falling in love with the process allows infinite creation to flow through you. But it's when you solely care about the outcome is when you always find yourself no longer loving the things that you're currently doing. So remember that. But what I'm saying with these people are, they're the ones that sell the lows and get flooded out of the market because of the news of a bear market, etc. Or the ones that buy tops because they want to chase green candles thinking that a coin that's already up 400% in a day is going to pump more. So the highs come, for those that are addicted to euphoria, adrenaline. They love it. And it's emotions that take control, whether it's fear or happiness or greed, etc., that we need to control. We need to find that balance. Don't listen to those that are screaming crypto's going to the moon. And I know some people say that in a facetious, joking manner, but I hope that's why they are saying that. And they're doing the due diligence and they're doing their own research and building a craft and developing the skill. But for those that have been here over the last year, and honestly, it's been a year since we started using the decode around numerology, astrology, and gematria, periodic table of elements, pi, and sharing it with you all in our work here. So happy 1 year anniversary. But we've been through these 2 large shakeouts already. If you followed the work, and we've had some biases that have been broken, and that's been humbling to get. It's about learning and developing a craft and evolving. Not about right or wrong, remember that. Or price predictions, none of that. It's about being able to utilize a skill and develop what you're going to do when we do see euphoria or when we do see these markets tank. But we've got a lot of rhyme and reason on the world stage right now as to why we are currently seeing everything we've seen lately with these sell-offs in the markets, because everything's planned out and the world is a stage. But the show must go on, and that's what we're here to teach you. But esoterically, we know that we got these sell-offs around double eclipse periods, like back in May and June of 2021, leading into another double eclipse period that brought our top in the market around 69K before again giving us another sell-off. So this is very important to pay attention to when we utilize astrology. And if only the average person could see the moon cycles, then we'll bring that up for you all, as a matter of fact. And if they could just pay attention to the astrological moon cycles, lunar moon cycles, each and every month that are running this market cycle. But remember, people want to get rich, so they ignore these things. They overlook them. And they want to plant apple trees and expect apples the next day. It's astonishing. But so with all of that being said, if we would just pay attention to the moon cycles and buy the full moons of the month and sell the new moons of the month, if that's what we were wanting to do on a monthly trading basis, then it shows to be pretty accurate when paying attention to the span of 3 to 5 days before on or 3 to 5 days after the full and new moons that we utilize here. Our full moons giving us lows in the market, leading into our new moons that bring our highs, leading into another low right here around the full moon, high around the new moon that was Rosh Hashanah, leading into a sell-off around the full moon, leading into a high around the new moon, sharp pullback because of the full moon, high because of the new moon. Going back for over a year, we've been able to utilize this pattern 2 times a month to get predictions in which way we think cryptocurrency is going to go. And we've recently had our full moon with a new moon coming. Remember that. So, with all that being said again, do you simply want to exist, or would you rather live? You see, when you exist, you always are reliving yesterday and waiting for tomorrow, but you're never present. So you're stuck in the outcome. But when you're living, you're always in the now, the present, solving the process and figuring out a way to utilize your energy to serve yourself and your higher purpose. Don't get stuck in these charts, watching the percentage gains, the top gainers, chasing green candles, or FOMOing out of markets because they're tanking. It's time to take personal responsibility, because when you do, that's when you become Semiramis or Venus. You become the light bearer. But being the light bearer and taking personal responsibility is not easy, pioneers. It's tough, because you wear a crown of thorns that digs deep into your scalp. It hurts. Truth sucks. Knowledge sucks. Red pill. But the knowledge and truth sets you free. It's breaking out of those shackles and chains that bind you. That's what sucks. And it will leave your scars, and it'll leave you scarred and bruised, on your ankles, wrists, etc. But nevertheless, it's liberating to break free. All the pain, the anguish, and suffering that you've endured while you were breaking out of those chains that bonded you for so long, you're able to see it was all worth it, because the pain, anguish, suffering was what you needed to allow yourself to see once and for all what you're truly capable of. You have discovered your superpowers, your gods and goddesses, pioneers, built in the image of the Elohim. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27 tells us this. Truth hidden in plain sight, ladies and gentlemen. Unlock your powers. Just like Jesus or Yeshua did when he reached the 33rd degree. Pay attention. So, don't chill. Stop wasting your time. When I ask you, have you done your homework? Or what are you doing today? Nothing. Just chilling. Do some work. Better yourself. The main reason people don't succeed is they waste their time. They chill. Usually content with their current job or their lifestyle, etc. It is the hungriest pioneer that gets fed. Closed mouths don't get fed. Not on this boulevard. So if you're trying to get rich, then you've got to remember to realize I create happiness and become rich, because you're already rich. And that's when you then invite rich into your reality. Okay? Ask and you shall receive. Then act like you have it already, pioneers. So let's talk about the mountain. The couple mountains we've been seeing, because it's important. And it all applies to wealth. A lot of people want to make money rapidly. But most of the time, these are the same people that end up giving away that money instantaneously. Once they finally achieve it, they spend it. Understand what I'm saying here, pioneers, because so many people are hungry and passionate and determined to climb a mountain. But when they finally climb that mountain, then they think they've done it. And they start walking right back down to the base of that mountain. But when you're someone that gets to the top after all the struggles of making it up that mountain, and you're at that top, and you're someone who only rewards themselves for just a moment and congratulates themselves for their achievements along the way, and then they look around for a minute, and while they're still at the top and the peak of that mountain, they're already scoping out the valley in between the next one that they see just over the horizon. Okay, and this is very important because while they're up here on this first one that they've climbed, they're asking themselves, what can I do to safely cross this valley and get to the base of this mountain again so I can successfully climb this other one as well? Remember that. Don't chill. It's an everyday process. Time is infinite. It doesn't exist, pioneers. So, certainly hope you're enjoying this motivational video. Again, for those of you that are new here, since my work last year in April, I think, I've been able to show you all this in a very different view, bringing you a ton of work from all different angles, letting you decide how you want to approach this market, and then sharing with you how I've been utilizing this the entire time. And since my first decode a year ago, again, happy anniversary, it's been beautiful to continue to watch this channel and family grow together. That's really what my work was intended for and what I was inspired to do by the great mentors that I follow in life. I just wanted to come out here and build an elite academy and community of pioneers that were highly conscious and like-minded, that were high vibrational beings that just came together to help one another, especially when, and since we've seen so much diversity and chaos over the last 2 years, with our most current, recent PSYOP with the bear flu. So again, kick back, relax. We're about to get into some technical analysis and start this video off right. We're going to start talking about some altcoins and other cryptocurrencies that we don't often get into because, again, this work is highly diverse, and so we don't get to spend a lot of time sharing with you all everything that we do here. So we're going to take a minute to pull up the Zilliqa price charts, as well as some others tonight like VeChain, Chainlink, Ethereum, XRP, and Bitcoin. Maybe SHIB and some others that have just been starting to really go bonkers and starting to bring this excitement back to the cryptocurrency when everyone was just screaming a bear market. So we'll bring that up real quick and find a good chart to look at. Hopefully that's a good one. And we see this amazing straight line breakout that's taken place here recently that started on the 26th of March. I was able to come and prepare you all the morning of the 27th about a volatile day that we could see in the price action for Bitcoin, and then I later saw that Zilliqa had increased in its holdings, pumping all the way up to a high of roughly 12 and a half cents. So very important. We'll talk about this really quickly. Its overall gain has been incredible. It's over 100+%. In one day it pumped 100%. So on the 26th, that's pretty powerful. So up a high of about 150, almost 200%. And this is something I wanted to share with you all because we were recently right down here. When we zoom out, when we're in doubt, and look at this as a 30,000 foot overview, and we pay attention to what was going on here, we see that, well, it seems to be like we just set a spring in Wyckoff reaccumulation and schematics. If this video will pull up, not video, but I just want this picture to pull up. There we go. It looks like we just set a spring right here before we started an automatic rally with SOSs, supply test, and last point of sales, etc. that we can talk about when we look at these schematics in a broad view. So going back to the Zilliqa chart, it looks like we just set a lower low right here in the structure of around 3 cents. So very symbolic right here to setting a spring after an automatic rally with a sell-off, with a, again, automatic rally, reversal, back down, that set a spring. So very important. We'll pay attention to this, and we hold ZIL, and we've spoken about it for 2 years and have been very bullish on Zilliqa. So hopefully this was a great accumulation period for those of you that have followed this channel for over a year now. But we know that these straight line breakouts are common. We know when cryptos are boring and bearish and everybody's flooded at the market, we can see these cryptos go straight line breakouts towards the upside in a single day, up 100% very easily. And we've talked about this. So while the majority of people are starting to FOMO in or selling too early, because that's one thing that people tend to do as well, they might be selling now. When you look out, we still could possibly still be setting a higher high in the structure, which is what I think we'll do ultimately. But let's pay attention here. Now, while these people were doing that, we were back here buying the dip because we didn't trip. And in my exit blueprint that I'm going to have coming out soon, I want to explain what's going on with this coin and give my code around it. But today I want to start out this episode with just showing you why we're seeing this in the price charts for Zilliqa and why is it doing this right now. I want to try and help you out with this right now, but let this be a lesson for how this market works. When we flip bullish, it can go just straight line breakouts, especially when we look at this on an area chart view. I mean, boom. So buying down here shows to be a good opportunity. Showing this, getting rid of the moon patterns. And bringing up the RSI, we can possibly see that. I guarantee, we don't need to, but I guarantee we were recently in overbought territories when looking at the RSI. Yep, back in January when I did my don't trip by the dip, and most cryptocurrencies were in a underbought, oversold territory before seeing this straight line breakout. So pay attention to this 90 reading on the RSI on the daily time frame. This is scary. That's not good. That's bearish. We typically see a reversal from these areas. So see these other straight line breakouts? So pay attention to ZIL right here, pioneers. Not financial advice, but this is where the uncommon 1% and traders typically de-risk before seeing lower levels again. Hopefully setting a higher low in the structure before ultimately coming back up again. So let's pay attention. We're again in a very important period for cryptocurrency. I heard it was about to become a trend again. Little birdie told me that. But we'll pay attention. So moving back on, I was accumulating back here in this dip and time period for Zilliqa before we saw this breakout, because we've held it for multiple years now, and it's a very important holding that we pay attention to. And again, it's been about time to see this, and it's about time. It's not about timing the market. Remember that, pioneers. It's about time in the market. But if you're gonna time this market, you need to know gematria, astrology, numerology, and the code that we're using here. It's the only tool that will allow you to do that. And remember, a tool can be used to build a house or destroy a house. That's your choice. Especially when you're using multiple, sources to this code. Multiple forms of astrology, multiple forms of mythology, the periodic table of elements, pi, etc. Very important. While combining all this and referencing it all back to origins of your decode, you're going to do amazing in this market. Trust me. But when you just conform your belief to one truth, then you're going to get wrecked. Again, there's no truth but you. Remember that, pioneers. So, and when you realize you and we are all one, then it's powerful. But again, when you use these mythologies, etc., and you see Mercury is, well, not just Mercury, but it's Hermes. And well, it's not just Mercury and Hermes, but it's Thoth. And it's all fractaled out. and not just one thing. It's not just Saturn. It's not just Chronos. It's Shani, Father Time. So take the time if you have it, because again, we went over this earlier. You do have the time. You just choose not to, okay? But study your time. Spend your time studying these mythologies, and you'll be able to learn which crypto is tied to which titan, which god, which Elohim, and you'll be able to see which one's tied to which. Use this code that we're sharing to figure this out on your own. And you don't need to wait for to see these straight line breakouts to start buying. Okay? You don't have to know, you already know the outcome, so you're prepared. Okay? Because you live in the process, not the outcome. And it's important to remember the full moon is a bearish time in the market. Okay? Let's just pull up this moon cycle one more time. And what's beautiful about it is, you know, new moons are on top, full moons are on bottom. Do you see how they're playing a trend towards the upside? Just like the new moons, full moons are showing a bottom, leading towards the new moon. You don't have to think too hard. Just use the moon, you know. Not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you my code. Okay? Buy the full moon, sell the new moon. Not financial advice. But it goes a lot deeper than that. Just pay attention. When we get any bearish energy in the month of March, like I said at the beginning of the video, it was in the earlier March. We saw that leading into a little pullback into around March 25th for Zilliqa, and then a blast off leading into April. That's typically, historically, a fantastic period for cryptocurrency. Our highs last year coming in April for Zilliqa, leading into May, sell in May, walk away. Traditional for the stock market. Walk away. You know, rinse, repeat. Anyways, April is typically a very awesome month for the markets. March is very neutral. Some people want to say it's so bad, or it's a bad month because of Skull and Bones and the code we've been using here. That's absolutely incorrect. Depends on the year, and when we look at a monthly candle, like I've showed you earlier, we'll see that even, boom, March, Zilliqa recovering, headed back to all-time highs, hopefully. So even Bitcoin, like we were showing you earlier, on the monthly time frame, in the month of March, headed back up, possibly setting a W pattern breakout. Very important, to a new all-time high. But this year is the Shemitah year that we've been bringing up, and it's much more chaotic, and it's, harder to understand what's going on, especially if you're not utilizing technical analysis and developing these skill, and you're not inclined and savvy as to what's going on here. But we've been in this downtrend for over 100 days straight, for 3 months plus straight, and then we started to build structure where we can see low, higher low, continuous. I'm not saying we can't roll over from here, but I'm letting you know that you got to be thinking the opposite of what everyone else thinks. So back here, when everyone was screaming we're going lower, buy the market when it's bloody. Don't trip by the dip, like we talked about. Or when you hear politicians like Elizabeth Warren talking badly about it, and the Bank of England warning that you're going to be ready to lose all your money in crypto. Well, this is time for you to really start thinking for yourself. Haven't they done this before? Hasn't China banned cryptocurrency, and the entire world banned cryptocurrency? Jesus has banned cryptocurrency. And you see these narratives being built to get you to not take action at the best time to take action. Just like at the top, it's always the happy narrative. It's always about greed. We got to protect ourselves. But we'll get into this deeper for Zilliqa real quick, and then get back into talking about serious technical analysis. So again, we literally ended 100% for a day in a day up. Pay attention right here. You'll see 100.96%. That's 100% breakout. That's very dramatic. So that's leading into a, like I talked about on the RSI, a very volatile period where we tend to see a pullback in price action. So again, seeing this blow off top with daily close down here at roughly 10 cents, right under 11 cents. That's important because the RSI was overheated. So very important. That's why we're getting this pullback in price action. It matches the 90 reading on the RSI in a daily time frame. Okay. So all right. Anyways, that's important to pay attention to, the relative strength index. But with that being said, this day, yesterday was the 27th of March, the day that I warned could be very important. Sunday, the day of the sun. Sun equals 27. Yesterday was the 27th. So, very important. We see this breakout. Yesterday, the day before, was a date numerology with 17. This is where it gets important. We saw 100% breakout for Zilliqa on a date that added up to 17. It's the day it started on the 26th, 100% breakout. Not surprising. This date, when added up, 3 plus 2 plus 6 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 2 equaled 17, and Zilliqa equals 17. So it gets pretty interesting. Yesterday, the 27th of March, we showed you in our 10-minute short decode, was the 86th day of the year. Zilliqa equals 86th in English ordinal. We don't need to think that hard. On the 86th day of the year, coming out of a day that added up to 17, Zilliqa's pumping. That's the beauty of gematria. It can be this simple, you guys. You know, let's utilize this skill that we're learning here to share with the world. Okay? So, we've already showed yesterday Zilliqa before we closed at 10%. It was hovering at 11 cents almost all day long. And that's important because ZIL, the ticker symbol, equals 11, where it hung out most of the day. So very important. Just something I want to reiterate with you and share with you all. We can see that Zilliqa's really liking this 11 cent area. So it's battling to get back there right now. So we'll probably possibly come back and retest some lower levels. Gravitate back down to this trading range back here around 8 cents, possibly even a little bit lower. 7 cents, very symbolic. Yeah, we'll just have to see. One other thing I can show you though is Zilliqa. ZIL. Boom. Giving us that 61 being the 18th prime number. So very important. Again, the 27th, where our top came in, was a day that added up to 18 in numerology. So very, very important. Yesterday, very important. The 86th day of the year, Zilliqa equals 86. So with this exposure to this code, hopefully you're able to utilize it and combine the name of your crypto with the ticker symbol, the code, and the price action, the day of the year, etc. So, undeniable connections we're utilizing with anything we hold here. So, anything we see in life, on the world stage, the news, sporting events, etc. All right, let's get into the Bitcoin price action. Oh. All right. Gotta find my drink, you guys. I keep looking. There it is. It's right under my nose, in between my legs. All right. Very important chart to look at for Bitcoin. We've already discussed these, these two mountains in our earlier discussion of cryptocurrency. Sorry, with Bitcoin and the mountains and wealth when we were, just talking about things. We've already discussed these. We're gonna get rid of this moon pattern. Sometimes it gets pretty hectic. And we've got a lot of minutia and monotony going on that we're going to be talking about today. We're 7 days away from today starting, we're 7 days away from Satoshi Nakamoto's 47th birthday, and we're setting at 47K for Bitcoin. So that's pretty important. Something I want to bring up with you all. We know on April 5th he turns 47 years old. So I've warned about this leading into the new moon at work with a bunch of people that hold cryptocurrency, that we could possibly see, this 47K, if not before, by April 5th. Our new moon in April, we're hovering and gravitating towards this top side of our trend line that we've had drawn here for quite some time on the daily candle close news that we've been following. We've been in this pennant, or whatever you want to call it. I just throw two trend lines up and I pay attention, you guys. I usually don't hold it at the wicks. I go to candle body closes. I find the most confluence in what I'm doing when I add these trend lines. But again, we've held support above it this entire period since we've had it drawn, and just gravitating back towards this 47K that we've prepared pioneers for. It's really just amazing. But ultimately getting back above this 382 of our dead cat bounce is pretty important. That's something, we've been wanting to see, bringing our W pattern breakout with a lower low and a higher low in the structure. Very important. Don't start getting excited though. We need to still pay attention to what's getting on. If you were someone that sold the lows, don't just jump back into the market now that we started pumping again and we see green candles. That's not how we teach you to attack these markets here. So we've talked about these two domes and the two mountains though, and that's important. We're looking for a third firmament to come in here, and we'll see how high this goes. We've broken out of our most recent dome and been able to finally get back above this 236 of our dead cat bounce, which was ultimately holding support of our 382 of our fib pool from April of last year. So again, very important. That was from we can go from the swing high to the swing low of June, and we see that we were still holding that 382 roughly. We fell below it and all the way down into the 236, and ultimately was able to hold this low of June and July. So I'm more biased bullish right now moving into April, which is typically a bullish month, and May, which is usually where we get our sell in May, walk away for traditional investors in the stock market. So so anyways, with all that being said, this red trend line that we're going to draw right here is something that's going to be important to pay attention to. We'll just keep it yellow. That's good to see. All right. So in January, we came down and hit our lows and then pumped up, hit this rejection of 44,400, came back down into February. The 1st of February led to our full moon and the Super Bowl, leading into the full moon of February, where we got a rejection. Okay, so January led into February, giving us our rejection, and then around the new moon, the full moon, I'm sorry, we got another rejection back down towards this trend line. So very important. Leading into the beginning of March, the end of February, which is typically bullish. The end of February is typically we're in an uptrend before automatic rejection. So very important. Something unique we paid attention to was this smaller W pattern breakout right here, which was very important. That led to a bull flag half staff breakout that led to this breakout of this trend line we drew here just now. So this level of around 45K is going to be important to hold structure of, which is, again, tying us back into Bitcoin, giving us that 45. So very important. You can see that we've been struggling at this level. So something we're going to pay attention to. 45K, key level for Bitcoin. We're yet to really close a daily candle at this level. It's until yesterday, the 27th. So, which was the Sunday weekly close, and it was amazing to see this. My 10-minute short decode should have prepared you for the potential volatility that we could have saw up or down. Bitcoin moved 5% up. Well, if it would have moved 5% down, it would have took us right there to that 4140K that I was talking about in my video yesterday. So roughly 41K. We could have saw it go either way. So it's pretty awesome and really nice to see this and how we can utilize this code at a moment's notice to give you a 10-minute update in cryptocurrency. So we're really getting a lot of energy in this market, not only with Zeal, we're seeing it show up in a lot of altcoins like VeChain. But that does not mean that this dip or downtrend or this boring sideways drawn out period is over. We're going to have to continue to see how this plays out. So we can see a lot of these gains just be evaporated. The volatility in crypto is there. I'm not telling you to sell or short the market or nothing. I know what I'm doing, and I'm waiting for the new moon of April. How about that? So we'll see how that pays attention. Go back for 6 months and watch my work. You can still learn work from watching a 6-month-old video here. That's how important they are. It's not about being able to catch the latest one or anything like that. Just go back, learn, see what we're doing, see how we evolve. Okay? So here we are. It's March 27th, 28th. We're seeing altcoins completely recover back to their end of the year of 2021 levels. So we just need to be patient while we're living through the months and days. We're going to see volatility. And, we know that that's what crypto does. But the overall projection is what matters. Because when you zoom out, you get the truth. Okay? Pay attention to how far we're down in VeChain. Of course we're going to the moon, which will probably be $1. Okay? We now 84%. Alright? Our fib gonna take us hopefully to $1.03, being the 27th prime number. So we'll see how that takes place. But I got an exit strategy on Zilliqa coming up as well. But who cares if it's moving up and down sideways when you know the outcome? You're living in the process, developing a skill and a craft, and not living in the outcome though. Okay? So pay attention to that. Very important, you guys. Can't help but stress this enough. Alright. But the more elusive we are as an investor, the more open-minded and least emotions will apply to this market, and the better we're going to be at pivoting this market, especially when the volatility shows up. We're going to know how to act accordingly, like we do now, like we did back in January and February. You know, we're not just trying to catch the boom and bust cycles, because that type of individual that's trying to catch the top and sell it and catch the bottom and buy it, they're usually confused and, you know, they're lost, okay? But this type of exposure of using the code that we're using here, it's going to change your life. You know, it's going to make you a higher vibrational being, and you're not going to be so stressed, and you're not going to be so feared and whatever. And when you get rid of everything and just become you, and you do your own due diligence and research, you're going to succeed. You know, a lot of people say, man, I wish I would have invested 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, you were listening to somebody tell you it was a scam. You know, back when Bitcoin was $100, you know, you kept falling for the nonsense and the minutia and monotony. Or if you were getting in it, you obviously didn't change your life utilizing a craft like this. And that's so much more important, because you're all that matters at the end of the day. You're the one that needs to go to school because you're the one that signed up to go to school or got the scholarship or whatever. You need to get to work because you're the one that sat down and applied for the job and filled out the application, and you've got to get there, you know? And on the way to work, there might be detours or accidents, and you still got to do your best to get there. Show up to work on time, or because if you don't, you have to speak to your boss or your professor and tell them why you're late, you know? But people don't want to take their own personal responsibility, especially when it comes to investing their hard-earned money. But, you know, your boss or professor doesn't care. Get to fucking work. Get to class on time, you know? Do your due diligence. Do your research. Because when we pioneers in the uncommon 1% leave you behind, we don't care. You had the same opportunity. Okay, but see, the common person, millionaires, they're not using this. Billionaires and trillionaires are. Okay, they have this mindset. Remember that. So with Bitcoin closing at this level that we're seeing lately, I would love to continue to see this just, well, chill out and hold structure of around 45K. So around this 382 of our dead cat bounce, which is ultimately our 0.5 of our April fib pool. So we could possibly see this swipe up into the 51K range of this 618 and this golden pocket of our last year's fib pool. So this is very important. You know, you want to pay attention to this much more volatile period, which will be the 618 golden pocket of our dead cat bounce from our all-time high. So this is very important. All right. Something else I wanted to bring up real quick was this right here. Boom. From November 25th till 322, Skull and Bones 322. We've got that right here pulled up for you guys tonight. You know, the ones who run the show. We see it was 117 days. That's symbolic and that's important right now because I'm forgetting. No, I should have wrote that down. Oh, okay. Boom. We're going to hide the drawings real quick. And something we just got was a bullish Pioneer cross on the Bitcoin price charts, as well as some other ones. But we see this white line right here, which is the 8 exponential moving average on the daily time frame. It first crossed a bearish cross on the 55, which is this green exponential moving average that we see on the screen right here. And it's been battling to get back above this 55 ever since. And we know for Bitcoin, this 55 is important because, well, Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, gives us that 55. So when we type that out, we know that 55 is important. We pay attention esoterically to get that esoteric, the truth hidden in plain sight. So this 8 has been battling to get back above this 55 for quite some time. Back in February and January, we got rejected once. Back in the beginning of March, rejected again. But we had our bullish Pioneer cross of the 8 and the 55 exponential moving average that came in on 3/22, the date of Skull and Bones, the day that started a 40-day blood sacrifice ritual period for these elite, and we've been green ever since, even crossing the 111-day moving average. Bitcoin's top came in 111 days on a date that in numerology equaled 111. November 10th, 111. We know 111 days from the start of Rosh Hashanah was our sell-off and May 19th lows. So this 111 has been utilized time and time again by the occult. So we're paying attention to September 11th this year, a Sunday, leaving 111 days left in the year. Just anything to do with this 111. April 1st being 4 1s, the 1111. How about that? Being 4-1 when we write it. 4-1 being the 4 1s. So let's pay attention. Could that be why we're seeing this bullish energy? So all these connections here is something I wanted to bring up as to why we see this 117 down here. We know Bitcoin, again, leading into 117 days before we saw the 8 cross the 55 day again. It was Bitcoin tying us in there. So very important. We had a daily close above 45, now 47 again. So very important. All right. Most recently, another 55 connection, though, was when we went to our January 24th lows. And we pulled over 55 days. We saw our sell-off that came in March 20th, leading into the 21st, 22nd day of the month. An important period we talk about. So we see that sell-off being 55 days, tying us back into Satoshi Nakamoto. So very important, not surprising here. And again, leading into 322, a day we see the 8 cross the 55 and lead us into this period where we now see the 8 on the 200 exponential moving average looking to cross bullish. Get ready, pioneers. This is bullish. Because all we got to do is continue to see these exponential moving averages. Let's get them all up. The 13, the 21, the 34, the 89, the 111, and the 200. We're good to go. If we can continue to see them getting bullish posture, which will be the 8 above the 13, like back here, let's go back. We'll have the 8 above the white above the black, above the orange, above the red, above the green, which is the 8 above the 13 above the 21 above the 34 above the 55 above the 89, the 111, and the 200. That is bullish posture. And typically we see this immaculate price increase. So let's pay attention to this. Let's continue to see if we get rejected here from the 200 for a little bit, or if we continue to burst on through it. It's been quite some time since this white has been above this 200 exponential moving average. So let's go back to where we first crossed bearish and measure that out in real time, because I didn't do that. And today being 108 days, that spiritual completion number, you guys, ultimately sums to 18. We know in Judaism, alive. 18 means alive, and they tell us this. Life. You can't make love, or you can't make life without making love, So again, that 18, very important. The infinite connection to source right there, being 108 days today, getting our top in the structure for Bitcoin, the micro structure right now, very important. And I hope this is adding confluence and helping you guys see how we utilize this. We know when we go back to our top that came in on that 111 date and measure it over to today, it's 137 days. That is the 33rd prime number. We know how important this 33 is. We also know we're in the year of the tiger, more importantly the water tiger, giving us that same 133. My prediction for a blow off top is still 144K if we break 100K, a 6-figure Bitcoin. I'm still ultimately relying on that. Let's just get to 72 first. Okay? So very important. We'll see what happens moving forward. And last but not least, when we pull from our April 14th, that 144,000 chosen, that very symbolic date, because internationally written you would write 14-4 for April. So it'd be 144, and we pull it over to today, boom. Or we pull it over to the breakout of 322. Surprising enough, right? Leading into 322, 321, go. Okay, it was 341 days as an anagram for pi, 3.14, a constant for the never-ending circle of life. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? So very important when we utilize this code in a way that no one else is sharing with you on the world stage for free. I know my worth, Pioneers, and we've got great things coming. So you better utilize what you can for free for now. Just throwing that out there. So let's continue on and talk. Make sure we're talking about everything we wanted to talk about tonight. Let's look at the Bollinger Bands for a minute. And we see that, well, we've had a daily close above the top side Bollinger Band. And that is bullish, Pioneers. That shows me continuation, and if we were to close today at 47K above the top side Bollinger Band, that shows me even more continuation. We battled for quite some time to just remain and hold support above the median of this Bollinger Band. So very important. We know that was ultimately around that 40K area, and we know we're in this 40-day time period that started on 322, okay? And we know how important this 40 is. We get that 40 in a lot of other things like the Vatican, the Jesuit order, etc. So very important. Mercury giving us that same 40. Again, Mercury being Hermes, Thoth, ultimately runs the fiat monetary system. So pay attention. Do your own due diligence with mythology. But topside Bollinger Band, a daily close above that again today would be bullish. Let's look at this. Oh, the 8's done crossed both the 55, the 89 and the 111. When this 89 crosses this 111 again, we're going to be in good shape, Pioneers. That's a super duper ultimate Pioneer cross when using the simple moving averages. Remember, this up here was the exponential moving average on the daily time frame. This is the simple moving average, the 8, the 89, and the 111. Let's adjust this and take a look at our inputs and change this 89 to the 55 and see where we're at. All right. Okay, so important. Keep an eye on that. 55 ultimately being at that 41K. We'll keep an eye on that range. We know that number is important as well. Again, we're leading into the new moon on 4/1. So after the new moon, do we get a pullback that comes all the way back down to 41K? I'm not too sure. Let's see and pay attention to how we can utilize this code moving forward. Very bullish, Pioneers. Very bullish. Take a drink of my water real quick. All right, so I've talked about Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday being on the 5th of April, which is about 4 or so days after our new moon. And as you know, our 3 to 5 day window before and after or on the new moon typically is bullish, which is, leading into obviously today, yesterday being within that time period. So another reason why we're seeing this breakout towards the upside is because the new moon's coming in, you guys. So something we can continue to pay attention to. It's very early in the month, and we could see it happen to go up kind of pull back and then make another final move up, just like right here around the 21st, 22nd of the month, where we typically see a pullback and a microstructure low. So again, around that 41K 40 area, and then we've been bullish. So let's pay attention. We can see another half bull flag, half staff breakout. Something like that wouldn't be weird to me. And that's something we've talked about in the past with leading into our 3 pyramids of Egypt scenario. The 3 firmaments, a 3rd dome under the dome. So let's pay attention. I would love for it to continue to do anything at this point, whether it consolidates right here or pushes up to 50K towards those Fibonacci extensions we were talking about. Of the 618 around 51K, that'd be important, But it's ultimately bullish to see this, especially calling the lows down here and the trend reversal that we would ultimately see leading into this ritual period of February, the Super Bowl, the start of the war, etc., leading into 322 where we started this breakout. It's just beautiful to see, you guys. Undeniable. We still want to break this 47K and start closing daily candles above 48 and hold the top side of this trend line as support. Even though it's a trend line, it doesn't ultimately matter, but it shows confluence as to why we've seen rejection going back in time or ultimately held support. So it's a key area we'll pay attention to, this 47, 48K. Ethereum is finally breaking 3,300K again. We have this trend line drawn right here that we've wanted to break as support for quite some time. Finally breaking out of this W pattern breakout. Ultimately bringing this liquidity into the altcoins that we're seeing right now, and things like Zilliqa, VeChain, SHIB, everything pumping these altcoins. We're creating the off season out of these lows is what I believe here. And we finally broke this topside trend line that we were just talking about in Bitcoin. So I know people are like, oh, it's so boring, crypto's not doing anything lately. But like I said earlier, if it's boring, that's when I'm accumulating. That's when I'm excited. I do not wait for everyone to get excited up here. Okay, we were buying the under $200 ETH down here in the bear flu. Okay, remember that. So at the end of the day, you'll see this asset is incredible. And while it's boring is when you want to accumulate, rinse, repeat. Again, not financial advice. But we see ultimately we want to continue to break into this golden pocket around 3,600. But this 33K that we're 3,300 that we're finally breaking back into, we know it ties us back into Ethereum and its ticker. So it's important that we can utilize Gematria and get this. We knew we were going to see this range again because ETH gives us that 15 and we're in the year of the tiger. So, that's how I utilize this. Tiger giving us that 15. Again, we're in the year of the water tiger, and it gives us that same 33 that we get in ETH, and we're sitting at 3,300, you guys. So, very important. Very important. Not saying with 100% certainty that we're going to repeat this, but we've seen this before going back in time. In this cryptocurrency market, and it's important. So if this was to be similar to this breakout, and well, we could possibly see this 6K range in the near distant future in this 1618. I'm not saying this is what it'll do, but that 5,500K, 5,200, 52 weeks in a year, 52 cards in a playing deck. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll continue to utilize the code. But I ultimately see Ethereum one day hitting that 14K range. Not financial advice. Again, it equals 14 and 15 in numerology. You do the math. We'll see what happens. This bull market, next bull market, who knows? By 2025, we're there. not financial advice. So let's get into XRP, and let's talk about that real quick before we talk about possibly Chainlink and Shiba Inu, our moon puppy, that we've talked about recently, and hopefully help people get out of a chaotic period in cryptocurrency when Shiba Inu made millionaires overnight. All right. So I hope you've been enjoying the bullishness and adjusting where you're at in your portfolio and market sentiment. We see XRP is really coiling up right now, and it shows me we are still in this Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic, and this is ultimately what I believe XRP is doing, is getting ready to cross the creek. We see a clear resistance that I'm about to point out and support that I'm about to point out for you all, being our support of around 56 cents. Very, very important. We know our lows came in at around 51. That's not surprising, because when we type out XRP in the calculator, we get the 15, the mirror of 51, as above, so below. So very important. But this is our support range, and we want to break this upcoming resistance range, which is at roughly $1.40 is the high right there, and we know that's important because, again, XRP equals 14. We're in the 2022 year. How about that? So what we're paying attention to is ultimately we want to see this $1.34 range again, and that's tying us right back into, Ripple XRP, giving us that 134. So that's something we're looking for in the near distant future. Very important. By June 2nd, I do believe. So we just got that 62 in Ripple XRP. So I do believe we'll see that by June 2nd is what I'm saying. Ultimately, what I'm saying is this looks like a lot like a cooled up crossing the creek period, to where we get ready to break the longest ever trend line in XRP charting history that you're getting from the daily candle close news that we've been sharing for over a year now. This trend line has been massive and important for reversals or signs of support held above for parabolic advances in the cryptocurrency market. So it is getting about time to see XRP just go absolutely bonkers, and that they release the caged animal that it is. So when we look at this, last year around April 3rd, April 4th, we just shot up into a straight line breakout, so very important. That 4-4 date, very, very symbolic, shot straight up into that 144 date. Ultimately came all the way back down to a double bottom, automatic rally, a sell-off into Rosh Hashanah, and we just came back down into another accumulation period, holding a higher low in structure when we zoom out. So very important. And we've finally been able to break back above 86 cents, you guys. Leading into tomorrow, or today, we're at 87 cents right now, and today is the 87th day of the year. How about that? We're just coming out of the 86th day of the year, you guys, and Ripple equals 86. Boom. I'm just saying. We're in the year of Jupiter, you guys. Jupiter gives us that same 27. I'm just saying. We know how important this 86 cent launchpad theory is. When we break above this 86 cent and we continue to close candles above it, we gravitate up, you guys. Gravity just disappears for XRP. This is the 86 cent launchpad theory you've heard me talk about for 2 years. Now is the time, pioneers. I'm not saying we can't roll over from here and retest these lower lows, but We're crossing the creek in Wyckoff accumulation and reaccumulation schematics. And this is beautiful, Pioneers. Something I've spent my life's work revolved around sharing with you. And it's time. Get ready. Strap on the boots. Not financial advice, but position yourself into the future monetary system. You'll never get this opportunity back. And, we're holding long term. Remember that. So, very important. I love how it's just following this code so well and how beautiful it is. And I'm able to share it with you on the world stage and speak my truths. But we do need to ultimately break this trend line to get it sighted of around that $1.15. And ultimately get back up to this $1.50, that symbolic 150, that 1.5 range, okay? XRP equals 15. So that $1.40 around our 618 in the golden pocket. This is where we want to gravitate back up to, but this is a very crucial time period where we can see a reversal into a bear market. Remember that. So if we get back up to these ranges and you've never de-risked, you might want to take your initial investment out around here. Not financial advice. But we ultimately think that XRP is going to break all-time highs because it has not done that in almost 5 years. Super suppressed and tightly coiled up, getting ready to explode, probably back up to around $5 to $7 conservatively. And we'll pay attention. So with all that being said, you guys, I'm going to sign out of this one and leave Chainlink and some other coins for the future. But take care. God bless. You're a divergent in the matrix. We'll see you in the next one, Pioneers. Rise. Build your legacy. Build your fortress.